Good day! Our topic for today's video is Situation Ethics presented by Group 15. Now, these are the 5 essential questions that will be answered at the end of our discussion. Number 1. How does agape love influence moral decisions in Fletcher's Situationism? Number 2. What differentiates Situationism from legalism and antinomianism? Number 3. In what context does the end justifies the means apply in Situationism? Number 4. How might Situationism lead to inconsistencies in ethical interpretation? And number 5. Does Fletcher's focus on love align with broader societal views on justice and fairness? While in this slide of our reporting on situation ethics, it's essential to highlight dilemma to better understand how it's applied in practice. Dilemma showcase complex situations where the principles of love and ethics are tested, like this one. Consider a case where a doctor is faced with patient who has terminal illness and is suffering immensely. The patient has explicitly requested euthanasia to end their suffering. A legalistic approach might strictly prohibit euthanasia, deeming it inherently immoral. An antinomian approach could permit it without any rules or guidelines. However, situationism, as advocated by Joseph Fletcher, would require the doctor to consider the specific situation, focusing on love and compassion. Should the doctor proceed with euthanasia based on the patient's request and the compassionate desire to alleviate suffering, or should they adhere to legal and ethical standards that prohibit it? This conceptual framework outlines the key principles of situationism, emphasizing the centrality of agape love in ethical decision-making. It highlights the importance of considering situational contexts, balancing ends and means, freedom and responsibility, and promoting justice through love. These 3 components fall under the framework of situational ethics. Now, I'm going to discuss the situation ethics o kilala rin bilang the new morality. Ito ay ipinakilala ni Joseph Fletcher, isang Amerikanong protestanteng medical doctor. Kahit tinawag itong the new morality, ang konseptong ito ay may ugat sa klasikong tradisyon at kristyanong moralidad. May pagkakapareho ito sa Thomistic moral philosophy at sa divine command theory. Ngunit may malaking pagkakaiba pagdating sa diin. Sa halip na simpleng pagsunod sa mga naunang itinatag na alituntunin o code of conduct, ang situationism ay nagbibigay ng higit na halaga sa personal na desisyon. Sa situationism, mahalaga ang flexibility. Hindi ka agad nasasabi kung ang isang bagay ay tama o mali. Kinakailangan pag-isipan kung ano ang pinakamahusay na aksyon sa ilalim ng partikular na mga pangyayari at kung paano ito makapagbibigay ng pagmamahal at pakikiramay sa iba. Bilang halimbawa, isipin natin ang isang sitwasyon kung saan mayroong isang pangangailangan na magsinungaling upang protektahan ang isang tao mula sa kapahamakan. Sa tradisyonal na moralidad, ang pagsisinungaling ay itinuturing na mali. Ngunit sa situationism, kung ang pagsisinungaling ay magdudulot ng kabutihan at pagmamahal sa iba, maaari itong ituring na moral. Sa madaling salita, ang situationism ay naglalayon ng mas flexible at mas personal na diskarte sa moralidad, na nagbibigay diin sa pag-ibig at pakikiramay sa bawat desisyon. Hindi ito tungkol sa pagsunod lamang sa mga batas, kundi tungkol sa paggamit ng puso at isipan upang magdesisyon ng may pagmamahal sa harap ng iba't ibang sitwasyon.
Siyempre, sisimulan natin sa pag-uulat ng buhay ni Joseph Fletcher. Ipinanganak si Joseph Francis Fletcher noong April 10, 1905 sa East Orange, New Jersey. Nagsimula siya sa West Virginia University sa Morgantown nang siya ay 17 years old pa lamang. Noong first year college niya, naging bahagi siya ng education staff ng United Mine Workers Association. During this time, nabilanggo siya dahil sa paglabag sa batas, laban sa pagsasalita sa pampublikong lugar para sa union ng mga minero. Ang kanyang mga karanasan sa Consolidation Coal Company at Monongahela Coal Mine ang nagtulak sa kanya na magkaroon ng habang-buhay na simpatya para sa mga kondisyon ng mga manggagawa sa carbon. Ito rin ang nagsimula ng kanyang aktibong pakikilahok sa social activism. Naging aktibista si Fletcher dahil sa kanyang interes sa philosophy at kasaysayan. Pinag-aralan niya ang utilitarianism ni Jerry Bentham at John Stuart Mill at ang pragmatism ni Charles Peirce, William James at John Dewey. Noong second year college niya, nakilala niya si Forrest Hatfield, isang kapwa-estudyante at makata na naging asawa niya. Naging aktibong Kristiyano rin siya sa Episcopal Church dahil sa kanyang mga ideal sa lipunan at mga aral ng Kristyanismo tungkol sa pag-ibig. Nagtrabaho si Fletcher bilang dean ng St. Paul's Cathedral sa Cincinnati noong 1936, kung saan nagtayo siya ng paaralan para sa pagsasanay ng mga seminarista sa sosyal. Nagturo rin siya ng mga course sa kasaysayan ng paggawa at bagong tipan sa University of Cincinnati. Pati na rin ang social etiquette sa Hebrew Union College. Noong 1944, tinanggap niya ang Robert Treat Paine Chair sa Social Ethics sa Episcopal Theological School ng Harvard University, kung saan nagturo siya ng Christian Social Ethics at Business Ethics sa Master's Seminar sa Harvard School of Business Administration. Sa kabila ng mga ito, hindi siya tinanggap ng diploma ng universidad dahil tumanggi siyang sumailalim sa obligadong pagsisanay sa militar. Pero, natanggap niya ang isang honoris causa doctorate mula sa West Virginia University noong 1984. Noong 1967, tinanggap ni Fletcher ang kanyang pananampalataya sa Christianism at hindi na pinansin ang anumang religious o secular dogma. Matapos magretiro mula sa Episcopal Theological School, lumipat siya sa Virginia kung saan siya ang unang tumanggap ng titulo bilang professor ng Medical Ethics at Human Biology and Society sa University of Virginia. Naglingkod siya bilang bisitang scholar hanggang sa kanyang pagkamatay mula sa karamdaman sa puso noong October 28, 1991.
The Moral Philosophy of Joseph Fletcher. Ang moral na filosofiya ni Joseph Fletcher ay sentral na konsepto ng situation ethics. Ayon kay Fletcher, may tatlong diskarte o approach sa moralidad: ang legalistic, ang antinomian at ang situationist. Una, ang legalistic approach. Ang legalistic approach ay umaasa sa mga general na batas o norms upang hatulan ang mga desisyon at aksyon. Tanong na karaniwan dito ay, ano ang sinasabi ng batas? Ang mga desisyon na hindi sumasang-ayon sa batas ay itinuturing na mali. Para kay Fletcher, ang ganitong diskarte ay masyadong mahigpit at hindi tumutugma sa komplikadong sitwasyon na nararanasan ng tao. Sa madaling salita, ang approach na ito ay hindi flexible at maaaring hindi maka-adapt sa iba't ibang sitwasyon. Para mas madaling maunawaan ang konsepto ng legalistic approach, ito ay isang halimbawa. Isipin mo na may isang bansa na may mahigpit na batas tungkol sa pandaraya o cheating. Sa paaralan, may isang mag-aaral na nahuli ng guro na nangongopya sa pagsusulit. Sa legalistic approach, susundin ng guro ang patakaran ng paaralan na nag-uutos na ang mag-aaral na mahuli sa pandaraya ay dapat tanggalin sa paaralan, kahit na ang mag-aaral ay may dahilan tulad ng personal na problema. Hindi ito isasaalang-alang dahil ang batas ay batas, at iyon ang dapat sundin. Pangalawa, ang antinomian approach. Ang antinomian approach sa kabilang banda ay naglalayon na palayain ang mga tao mula sa anumang moral na batas. Para sa mga antinomian, walang absolute na prinsipyo o batas na dapat sundin. Ang bawat tao ay may kakayahang magdesisyon ayon sa kanilang sariling pag-unawa at sitwasyon. Ayon kay Fletcher, ang ganitong approach ay masyadong liberal at maaaring magdulot ng kaguluhan at kalituhan sa lipunan. Kung walang guidelines o anumang basihan, paano malalaman kung tama o mali ang isang aksyon? Para naman sa konsepto ng antinomian approach, ito ay isang halimbawa. Isipin natin ang isang pamilya na walang anumang ipinapatupad na regulasyon o disiplina sa bahay. Walang oras ng tulog, walang takdang oras para sa pagkain, at walang parusa kapag nagkamali ang mga anak. Ang approach na ito ay nagpapahilintulot na lahat na gumawa ng gusto nila, anuman ang sitwasyon. Maaring magdulot ito ng kaguluhan o kawalan ng direksyon sa bahay dahil walang matibay na gabay o batas na sinusunod. At panghuli ang situationist approach. Dahil dito, mas pinili ni Fletcher ang ikatlong approach, ang situationist approach. Ito ang middle ground sa pagitan ng legalistic at antinomian. Sa situationism, ang tamang aksyon ay depende sa partikular na sitwasyon. Ngunit dapat palaging isinaalang-alang ang pag-ibig na base sa Kristiyanong prinsipyo, ang tinatawag na agape. Sa ganitong paraan, nagbibigay ng flexibility ang situationism habang mayroong fundamental na basehan, ang pag-ibig. Ang sitwasyon ay tumutukoy sa isang partikular na kondisyon o estado kung saan kinakailangan ang moral na desisyon o aksyon. Ayon kay Fletcher, anumang desisyon o aksyon ay dapat na base sa agape love, ang pag-ibig na walang kinikilingan. Halimbawa, sa isyu ng abortion, maaaring itinuturing na moral o immoral ang desisyon depende sa sitwasyon. Kung ang isang babae ay nabuntis dahil sa rape or incest, ang desisyon na magpa-abort ay maaaring ituring na moral dahil hindi ito resulta ng pag-ibig. At para mas malawak na maintindihan ang konsepto ng situationist approach, ito ay isang halimbawa. Ngayon, isipin natin ang isang kumpanya na may policy tungkol sa tardiness o pagiging late sa trabaho. Ayon sa policy, ang isang empleyado na madalas malate ay pwedeng masuspinde o matanggal. Ngunit sa situationist approach, bago gumawa ang ng desisyon, isinaalang-alang ng manager ang partikular na sitwasyon. Halimbawa, kung ang empleyado ay nagiging late dahil kailangan niyang alagaan ang isang may sakit na kapamilya, maaaring isiping moral ang pagpapahintulot ng mas maagang oras para makapasok. Dahil ito'y alinsunod sa agape love o pakikiramay sa sitwasyon ng empleyado. Ano nga ba ang agape love? Upang mas maunawaan ang agape love, kailangan nating malaman ang iba't ibang uri ng pag-ibig. Ang erotic love ay tumutukoy sa pag-ibig na may halong pisikal na atraksyon. Ang filial love naman ay ang pag-ibig sa pagitan ng magulang at anak o magkakapatid. Pareho ng erotic at filial love ay may halong preference. Halimbawa, maaaring magpakita ng favoritism ang isang guro sa kanyang anak na estudyante. Samantalang, ang agape love, ang tinatawag na universal love, ay walang pinipiling tao o sitwasyon. Ito ang pag-ibig na walang kondisyon, ang pag-ibig na ipinakita ni Kristo, na handang mag-alay ng sarili para sa iba. Ayon kay Fletcher, ang ganitong uri ng pag-ibig ang dapat maging gabay sa anumang desisyon o aksyon. Sa kabuuan, ang moral na filosofiya ni Fletcher ay nagbibigay ng balanse sa pagitan ng masyadong mahigpit na legalism at masyadong maluwag na antinomianism. Ang situationism ay nag-aalok ng flexible na approach na mayroong batayang prinsipyo ng agape love. Ipinapakita nito na ang tama o mali ay hindi palaging itim at puti. Depende ito sa sitwasyon at sa diwa ng pag-ibig.
The sixth formulation of Christian love according to Joseph Fletcher. In his work, Situation Ethics, the New Morality, Joseph Fletcher developed six propositions of Christian love that serve as the basis for his theory of ethics. Number 1, it is stated that only one thing is intrinsically good, namely love, nothing else. Ibig sabihin ay love is the only good thing in the world. Fletcher's reference here is the New Testament, according to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13, and now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Actions are not innately good or evil. They are always part of a chain of cause and effect. They are either right or wrong depending on whether they promote the most loving outcome. Love is universal and the only one thing that guide us to make decision through our conscience. Parang white lies, ganon. Laws without love cannot serve as moral principles. Morality cannot be based solely on the happiness of the majority due to the issue of injustice. When making decisions or doing actions, it's important to act with agapeic love, which prioritizes the well-being of others and is never unjust. Love demonstrates caring, respect, and defends the dignity of others. The second proposition is the ultimate norm of Christian decision is love, nothing else. As a result, all future decisions must be made with love in mind. This love, though, does not identify whether the other is a fellow Catholic or Muslim, but instead, one should love the other because he is a fellow human being with equal honor and dignity. Christian love should not display any preferences. In this aspect, this argument appears to uphold the same idea as generals, who claim that every individual is inviolable. As a result, everyone must be treated equally, and Christian love must serve as the foundation for all deeds or actions. When faced with tough decisions or moral dilemmas, Christians have to evaluate what action will best demonstrate for love. For others, this entails sacrificing personal ambitions or interests in order to prioritize the well-being of others. Following this idea, individuals can create a sense of empathy and understanding towards around them. In essence, love becomes more than a sensation. It affects every decision and action taken by the believers. The third proposition is stated that love and justice are the same, for justice is love distributed. Love takes everything into account. It is not selective or partial. This love is not sentimental, but rather than calculated and preferred. Someone should treat others equally as a result, love requires justice and accountability. Because when someone loves someone, he must also be responsible for his well-being. Just as love works to inspire and empower those around us, justice seeks to ensure that everyone is treated equally and has equal opportunity. Love cannot genuinely grow without justice, as it is built on a foundation of fairness and equality. Because Christian love is a call to love people as individuals, one should demonstrate fairness and accountability to others by considering the well-being of the entire society. When performing a specific action, one should always consider the benefits that it will bring to others. The fourth proposition is stated that love will always the neighbor goods, whether we like them or not. Fletcher's claim that love wills the neighbor goods whether we like them or not encourages us to look past surface level politeness and actually care for those around us. It demands us to set aside our biases and prejudices and regard everyone as deserving of love and respect. While this may be a tough concept to grasp in the conflicted world, Fletcher's message is clear. Love has the potential to alter relationships. Love has the potential to alter relationships and create a more compassionate society. By choosing to act out of love for our neighbors, we may create better communities founded on understanding and empathy. In this proposition, it's natural for individuals to have preferences over others as everyone has the ability to think and see that others have superior attributes. Christian love entails loving others unconditionally, regardless of personal traits. In other words, one must learn to love others whether they are likable or unlikable. Every individual should learn to love people, whether they're friends or enemies. This is essentially the concept of Christianity. It's important to love. It's important to learn to love even those who are unlovable. For the fifth proposition, it indicates that only the end justifies the means and nothing else. Utilitarian, ulita, ul, ul, Utilitarianism, ho- wait, for the fifth proposition indicates that the only end justifies the means, nothing else. Utilitarianism holds the activities are good if they tend to promote happiness and bad if they tend to produce unhappiness. As a result, Christian ethics would also educate its member that the end doesn't justify the means. According to Christian ethics, a good end does not justify evil means no matter how desirable the outcome of an action may be, no action should be carried out by the evil means. Stealing only to Stealing only to aid others is still morally unacceptable. However, Joseph Fletcher claims that an evil means does not always imply that the goal will be evil as well. Fletcher held that if the end does not justify the means, what all does? Fletcher believes that it must be determined by particular circumstances. For example, the sentence can be ethically acceptable if it's the only way to keep criminals from causing further harm to more people in a society. And also the abortion. Abortion can also be regarded as morally unjustifiable if it is the only way to regain the woman's dignity. If love means respecting the dignity of a rape victim, abortion can be justifiable. And for the last proposition indicates that decisions are out to be made situationally, not prospectively. In life, we are continuously confronted with choices that determines our future and define who we are. Some may argue that decisions should be made using predetermined rules or standards, but I feel that decisions should be made on a situational basis rather than prospectively, because circumstances change. Christian love gives each individual the appropriate decision in any situation. Indeed, every decision may differ based on the circumstances. However, situationists argued that even if the situation changed, they were meaningless as long as we made moral actions in the name of Christian love. Situation ethics held that the demands of love would always be the foundation of morality. In this example, situationists would use the following mathematical formula to find the norm. Indicative plus imperative is equal to normative. The situationist would agree that one must first assess the situation before making any moral conclusion. In such a case, one must do what the responsibility requires. Such responsibility would imply one will imply that one makes a moral decision based on love. Agapeic love must thus be the standard for making moral decisions because it shows no preference or erotic or filial motivation. Agapeic love also avoids biases, friendliness, camaraderie, or utang na loob and pakikisama. In this instance, one will be able to treat everyone fairly and equally, regardless of who they are or what their standing is. As a result, situationism might be viewed as a solid moral foundation.
Now we are going to answer our 5 essential questions. Number 1, how does agape love influence moral decisions in Fletcher's situationism? The answer is, agape love serves as the ultimate moral standard, guiding decisions toward selfless care, respect, and compassion for others in every situation. Number 2, what differentiates situationism from legalism and antinomianism? The answer is, situationism rejects rigid adherence to rules or legalism, and unstructured moral relativism or antinomianism, advocating for flexible decision-making based on context and agape love. Number 3, in what context does the end justifies the means apply in situationism? The answer is, this principle applies when the outcome of an action, driven by love and compassion, validates otherwise questionable means, focusing on the greater good or alleviation of suffering. Number 4. How might situationism lead to inconsistency in ethical interpretation? The answer is, its emphasis on context and subjectivity can result in differing judgments for similar situations, depending on individual perspectives on love and moral priorities. And the last, does Fletcher's focus on love align with broader societal views on justice and fairness? The answer is, Fletcher's emphasis on love and justice as synonymous may resonate with some societal concept of fairness, but his subjective approach might clash with more structured legal and ethical frameworks.
This is our conclusion. Joseph Fletcher's situationism prioritized Christian love in ethical decision-making, offering flexibility for complex moral situations. While diverging from traditional frameworks, it addresses compassionate dilemmas but may introduce inconsistencies due to its subjective interpretation of love. Despite its potential for empathy, ensuring fairness across diverse contexts is crucial. We are Group 15. I'm Hazel Angie Diala along with my group mates Alexandra Shane P. Santos and Carl Eliza C. Borlongan. Thank you for listening to our discussion. I hope you learned something.